You made it here, whatever the day held for you, whatever you were asked to carry across those hours from the first light until now. You have arrived at this place where none of it is required anymore. This bed, this darkness, this particular moment of permission has been waiting. It waited while you worked, while you responded, while you held things together in the ways that only you know how to hold them. Now it is yours. There is a particular kind of heaviness that settles into a person at the end of a day like today. Not just the tiredness of the muscles, though your body has certainly done its work. Something deeper lives in it, a weariness that collects behind the eyes, in the hinges of the jaw, in the tight places between the shoulder blades. It is the tiredness that comes from constant readiness, from being switched on for hours at a stretch, from the relentless low-level work of existing in a world that asks a great deal of your attention. This is not a weakness. It is simply what happens when a human nervous system navigates a modern day. Your brain processed more information today than someone living several centuries ago might have encountered in a month. Every alert, every conversation, every small decision and micro-assessment added to that total. You met it all, in whatever way you did, and you are still here. That is worth something. The first thing to understand about tonight is that you don't have to do anything with that heaviness. You don't need to process it, analyze it, extract lessons from it, or prepare yourself to perform better tomorrow. Tonight you can simply let it exist, feel it here in this body, settled into this mattress. The weight of your legs against the sheets, the heaviness of your arms at your sides or resting on your chest. This is not a problem. Gravity is asking you to stop holding yourself up, and that is a kindness you can accept. Let your body respond to that kindness now. Feel the mattress beneath you, solid and steady, willing to hold all of your weight without being asked. You don't have to hold anything up, not your arms, not your legs, not the muscles of your face, which have been working all day in the service of expression and communication, and all the small negotiations of social existence. Let your jaw release its grip. Let your brow smooth out. If you find any tightness there, breathe into it gently and feel it soften. Your shoulders, which have carried a great deal today, both literally and in every figurative sense that matters, can fall now toward the mattress. Not a dramatic drop, just a slight release. Imagine them melting, very slowly, like ice on a warm surface. There is no rush. This unwinding doesn't happen all at once. It happens the way fog lifts, gradually, without a single dramatic moment, until you look up and the view is clear. Breathe in slowly now. Let the air come in through your nose, cool and quiet, filling your lungs from the bottom of your belly to the top of your chest. Hold it for a heartbeat. Then let it go all the way out, slowly, without effort. Notice what happens in the last part of that exhale. A small release somewhere in the chest, perhaps a slight settling of the body against the surface beneath you. The breath, that loyal and uncelebrated companion, has been keeping its rhythm through every hour of your day. It didn't need your attention to do so. It continued without thanks or recognition, doing the essential work of keeping you alive and present throughout everything. There is something deeply settling in noticing this. The body has a life of its own, a wisdom that predates your conscious mind by many millions of years. It knows how to breathe without being told. It knows how to digest and heal and regulate temperature, how to balance and circulate and repair. It is doing all of this right now as you lie here, a whole complex ecosystem of intelligent function, running its processes without requiring your involvement. You can rest on top of all that competence. The body doesn't need you to manage it tonight. What the body needs is simply permission to follow its own deep pull towards sleep, which has been building in you since the moment you woke this morning. Sleep is not something you manufacture. It is something that arrives when the obstacles to it are moved gently aside. The biggest obstacle, most of the time, is the mind's reluctance to stop its work. The mind has been very busy today. It managed your calendar, tracked your obligations, replayed your conversations, planned your responses, monitored your social environment. It did this largely without rest, operating in the background of everything you did. It is an extraordinary instrument, your mind, genuinely remarkable in its range and speed. Tonight, though, it may be running on a kind of momentum, still checking, still monitoring, still reaching for the next thing to attend to. This is not a flaw. It is what minds do when they have been trained by a demanding world to stay vigilant. The mind that helped you through today has not yet received the clear signal that the day is over. It is still, somewhere in its depths, waiting for the next notification. It reaches for the next problem, the next thing that needs your attention. You know this feeling, perhaps. The eyes are closed, but the thoughts keep moving. The body is still, but the mind is not. This is the particular challenge of our time, and it is why you are here. So let us give the mind that signal now, gently and clearly. The day is over. Whatever was in it, whether the conversations you are replaying or the tasks left unfinished, all of it is complete for tonight. The things that went well and the things that did not are equally finished. Not resolved, necessarily. Not fixed or settled. Complete in the sense that today is a closed container. Nothing you do in this bed, in this darkness, will change what happened. Tomorrow is not here yet. There is only this. Your breath, your body, the quiet, and this voice. Let that be enough. Let the simplicity of it land somewhere in you. Right now, you are not needed anywhere. No message is urgent enough to require your wakefulness. No decision must be made before morning. Whatever is happening in the world beyond this room is happening without your participation, and it can continue to do so for these hours. You are allowed to be absent from all of it. This permission, the permission to be absent from the world's demands, is something many people find genuinely difficult to take. There is a kind of guilt that attaches itself to rest, a feeling that stopping is somehow a failure of the drive that gets things done. You may recognize this. The sense that you should be doing more, being more, preparing better, responding faster. It is a feeling that modern life reinforces in countless small ways, from the metrics that measure your output to the culture that celebrates busyness as a virtue. Consider what rest actually is, though. Not laziness, not surrender, not giving up. Rest is the condition under which everything repairs itself. Your brain, during sleep, performs maintenance that cannot be done while it is active. Waste products are cleared from neural pathways. Memories are consolidated and sorted. Emotional experiences are processed and integrated. The immune system does its most important work in the sleeping hours. Rest is not the absence of progress. It is progress of a kind that requires your non-interference. So the most productive thing you can do right now is nothing. The most useful service you can render to tomorrow is to sleep well tonight. The wisest action available to you is to lie here, breathe, listen, and let the natural process do what it has been doing for every human who has ever lived. Let the dark do its work. There is a detail about this that often goes unnoticed. You are not the first person to lie awake at the end of a hard day, feeling the weight of everything and wondering how to put it down. Every generation before yours, in every culture and every corner of the world, has known this moment. The farmers who could not stop thinking about the harvest. The parents who lay awake in the dark carrying worry for their children. The craftspeople replaying mistakes made in the workshop. The threshold between waking and sleep has always been complicated for human beings. We are too imaginative, too forward-thinking, too embedded in the stories of our own lives to simply switch off. But we have also always found our way through. Every person who lay awake before you eventually slept, the mind, whatever its protests, eventually yields to the pull of rest. This is something to trust. You don't need to force it. You don't need to perform rest or will yourself into unconsciousness. You need only to remove your resistance, gently, one layer at a time, over the course of this night's long quiet. Your eyes are closed. The room is dark. The sounds of the night, whatever they are in your particular corner of the world, are simply the sound of the world going about its business without you. Each one of them is a small confirmation that you can be still while life continues. Traffic somewhere distant. The settling of the building. The sound of your own breathing, which you can hear now if you listen for it. Feel the breath again, this simple, reliable, ancient rhythm. In and out, receiving and releasing. Your lungs have done this more than 20,000 times today without your help. Let them continue. You need not direct them. Simply ride the wave of the breath, like floating on a gentle sea, neither fighting the current nor trying to steer, just rising slightly with each inhale, softening slightly with each exhale, carried along by something that it is doing. This bed, in this room, on this night, is where you belong, not halfway out the door into tomorrow, not lingering in the afternoon's aftermath. Here, horizontal, breathing, gradually releasing what is finished, gradually receiving what is finished, gradually receiving what is freely given. Something interesting happens when you stop trying to make rest happen and simply allow it. The body, which is extraordinarily patient, takes the opening you have created and begins to do what it knows how to do. The muscles that were braced for the next demand begin to soften. The nervous system, which has been running at a frequency calibrated for daytime alertness, begins to lower its pitch. This lowering is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. It is the kind of change you notice only in retrospect, the way you notice a persistent background noise only when it stops. The room gets quieter. The body gets heavier. Something that was clenched, somewhere in the chest or the belly, begins to unclench. Notice, if you can, the quality of the silence in this room right now. Not an empty silence, not an uncomfortable one, but the particular silence of a place that has been given permission to be still. The walls have absorbed the day's energy and are releasing it gently. The objects in the room, which were witness to all the comings and goings and urgencies of the day, are quiet now, simply themselves, simply present, doing what objects do in the dark, existing without requirement. You are part of this scene. One more thing in this room that has gone still, that has given up the performance of day and is simply here, breathing, in the middle of the night. This is already happening in you. Right now, as these words find their way in, something is shifting, not because of anything remarkable being said, but because you are lying still in the dark, because you have stopped adding to the day's accumulation, because the simple absence of forward motion is itself a form of release. The body is an organism that wants to heal. It wants to repair and restore. You are giving it the one thing it most needs to do that: your willingness to stop. Your absence from the project of doing. You don't have to feel it happening to trust that it is. Sleep does not require your observation. Rest does not need your monitoring. The breath will continue whether you are attending to it or not. The body will move through its nightly processes whether you are conscious of them or not. Your job, right now, is simply to stop interrupting what the body already knows how to do. To be still, to be here, to let the quiet work. Stay with me now. Let us go somewhere quieter together. There is an old teaching, found in several Buddhist traditions, that describes the untrained mind as a monkey. Not a peaceful animal, not a contemplative one, but a monkey. Restless, chattering, swinging from branch to branch with remarkable speed and absolutely no particular destination. The mind grabs an idea the way a monkey grabs a branch, swings from it to the next one, and the next, rarely pausing to rest on any of them for long. By the time the evening comes, the monkey has visited dozens of branches and is no closer to the ground than when it started. If you recognize your own mind in this image, you are in excellent company. Nearly every person who has ever sat down to meditate or simply tried to be quiet at the end of a demanding day has met the monkey. It is not a sign of disorder or failure. It is a sign that your mind has been doing exactly what it was designed to do, ranging widely, seeking out potential problems, preparing responses, following threads wherever they lead. It is a very good monkey. Tonight, we are simply going to let it rest. The important thing to know about the monkey is this: you cannot stop it by force. If you have ever tried to think about nothing, you know what I mean. The act of trying not to think is itself a thought, and a remarkably busy one at that. Suppression creates pressure, and pressure eventually finds a way through. Every contemplative tradition worth its name has understood this, which is why the wisest approaches to mental quieting have never been about force. They have been about something gentler, something more like offering the monkey a warm place to sit and a bowl of fruit, and letting it come to rest on its own. So what do we offer the monkey tonight? Not emptiness, because emptiness feels threatening to a mind that has spent the day being useful. Not silence, because silence in itself can be unsettling. We offer it something to follow, a thread, a voice, a story that moves slowly enough for the mind to follow without strain, that leads somewhere peaceful rather than somewhere urgent. This is what we are doing here together. I am the bowl of fruit. You are the monkey. Let the image settle for a moment, and then perhaps smile at it a little. There is humor in recognizing yourself this way, and humor is itself a kind of lightness. There is actually a deep respect embedded in the monkey metaphor despite its apparent silliness. A mind that moves quickly, that finds connections, that follows threads wherever they lead, is a mind with genuine capability. The very quality that makes it hard to settle down at night is the same quality that made it useful all day. We are not trying to fix the monkey or change its fundamental nature. We are simply creating conditions in which the monkey, whose nature is to move, can move more slowly toward quieter branches in the direction of rest. The monkey will always be a monkey. Tonight, we are making the jungle a little smaller and a little more peaceful. Now let us look at what the monkey is doing right now in your mind. Not to judge it, not to catalog its failures, but just to notice. What thoughts have passed through in the last few minutes? You don't need to answer that aloud or even consciously. Just turn your attention gently inward and observe, for a moment, the quality of your thinking. Is it rapid or slow? Is it circling back to something from today, something said or unsaid? Is it reaching forward into tomorrow, rehearsing, preparing, planning? Both are normal. Both are the monkey in action. Notice too that you are able to observe this. There is something in you that is watching the thoughts, that can step back and see the monkey rather than simply being the monkey. This observer, this quieter awareness that exists slightly behind the thinking mind, is something the contemplative traditions have pointed to for thousands of years. In Zen, a teacher might call it your original face, the nature you had before you began to learn all the things you know. In other traditions, it is called the witness, or pure awareness, or simply the space in which thoughts arise. Whatever name you give it, or whether you give it any name at all, you can feel it. That slight stepping back, that moment of watching rather than doing. This observer is what we are cultivating tonight, not the complete silencing of the monkey, which is neither necessary nor realistic, but the gentle strengthening of the part of you that watches without being carried away. As this grows, even a little, the quality of the evening changes. The thoughts become less urgent. They pass like weather rather than breaking like waves. You find that you can hear them without obeying them, can see them without following where they point. A student once came to a teacher and said that her mind was too busy for meditation. She said she had tried to sit quietly and found only a cacophony, thoughts about her work, about her family, about the things she had done wrong and the things she needed to do next. The teacher listened carefully. Then he said, "What you are describing is not a failed meditation. It is the beginning of a successful one. You are now aware of what was always happening. The noise was always there. Now you can hear it. Hearing it is the first step to being free of it." This is the reframe that matters. The thoughts you are experiencing right now, the reviews and rehearsals and worries that keep presenting themselves, they were always running. You simply have more of your attention available to notice them now that the distractions of the day have fallen away. The quiet of the evening is not creating them, it is revealing them. This is useful. What you can see, you can begin to set down. So let us practice the setting down together. Find a thought that is present right now, something the mind keeps returning to, some loop it is running. You don't have to name it out loud. Just identify it, acknowledge its presence. It is there. You see it. Now, as gently as you would move a sleeping child from one room to another, see if you can place that thought to one side. Not destroy it. Not deny it. Not tell yourself it doesn't matter. Just move it a little way from the center of attention. Set it in the corner of the room where it can wait. It will still be there in the morning, fully intact, ready to be picked up again when morning brings the appropriate time. The thought resists, perhaps. Thoughts often do. They have a quality of urgency that makes them feel as though they need attention right now. But here is something worth considering. Has worrying about something in the middle of the night ever once actually solved it? Has lying awake replaying a conversation ever changed what was said? The answer, in your own experience, is almost certainly no. The nighttime mind is not a problem-solving mind. It is a recycling mind. It goes around and around without moving forward. Whatever the mind is presenting to you right now with such apparent urgency is not a problem you will solve between now and morning. It is a passenger asking to be let off at a stop that doesn't exist yet. Let it know, gently, that you will return to it at the appropriate time. Tomorrow has the tools for tomorrow's concerns. Let me tell you about a lantern in a dark room. Imagine a single lantern, burning steadily, casting warm light on the stone floor around it. Now imagine that the room is very large and the lantern is small. There are all kinds of things at the edges of the room, things you know are there, but cannot quite see clearly. The restless mind wants to take that lantern and run with it into every corner of the room, chasing shadows, illuminating every object, cataloging everything. By the time it has finished, both the room and the person holding the lantern are exhausted. The meditative instruction says, set the lantern down, let it burn where it is, let the edges of the room stay in their comfortable dimness for now. Not everything needs illuminating tonight. Some of the shadows at the edges are simply furniture. None of them are going anywhere. In the morning, in the good clear light of the day, you can look at anything you like. Tonight, let the lantern rest. Let the room be mostly dark and be at peace with that. Your attention is the lantern. It has been racing around the room all day, and it is tired. Let it come to rest now on just one thing: the breath, or this voice, or the simple sensation of your body against the bed. Just one thing, warm and near, steady and certain. Everything else can wait at the edges. You will notice, if you try this, that the mind doesn't give up the lantern easily. It will grab for it again and again, insisting there is one more shadow to check, one more corner to illuminate. This is fine. When it does, you simply return. no frustration, no scolding, just a gentle return to the one thing, to the breath or this voice or the weight of your body. Each return is not a failure. Each return is the practice. You are building something, slowly over many nights, a capacity for rest that will deepen the more you come back to it. For tonight, we are at the beginning of this. Perhaps you have done this many times before and the returning feels familiar. Perhaps this is new to you and the returning feels effortful. Either way, the instruction is the same. Gently, without judgment, come back. Come back to the breath. Come back to this voice. Come back to the feeling of your hands resting heavy and still. Come back to the warmth building where your body meets the mattress. Come back to the simple fact of being here, horizontal, in the dark, already doing the most important thing. The monkey is growing quieter now, not because you forced it, but because you stopped fighting it. You acknowledged it, you gave it something gentle to follow, and now it is doing what animals do when they feel safe. Settling, slowing, curling towards sleep. Feel that settling in yourself. A slight easing of the chest. A slight loosening of the jaws. The thoughts are still there, but their edges are softer now, their urgency a little reduced, their pull a little weaker. Stay here. Let the lantern rest where it is. Let the shadows stay at the edges. There is nothing in this room, in this night, that requires illumination right now. Something worth noticing as you settle deeper into the quiet. The quality of your breathing has probably changed since we began. Earlier, it may have carried the quick, shallow rhythm of alertness, of a person who has been running on adrenaline and expectation all day. Now, perhaps, it is a little slower, a little deeper. The chest rises and falls with less urgency. The belly softens on the exhale. The body is already doing what it does when the mind begins to step back from its vigilance. This is not something you made happen. You couldn't have forced it. What you did was create the conditions for it, the lying down, the willingness to stop moving, and the closed eyes that signaled nothing more was needed. The body, given those conditions, does the rest. It knows how to slow down when it is given permission. It has known how since long before you were born, since long before any of the noise of the modern world existed. This slowing is ancient. It is genetic. It is yours by inheritance from every breathing creature that ever learned to stop and rest. The lantern is on the floor now, casting its warm circle. The monkey has found a comfortable branch and is sitting still. The room is mostly dark, and the dark is not threatening. It is simply the night, doing what nights do, while you do what sleeping people do. Let this continuity carry you. Let the rhythm of the world, the turning of the earth, and the endless patient cycle of dark and light hold you in its motion. You are part of it. You always have been. Only the warm circle of light, steady, quiet, enough. Your body has been patient with you today. While your mind raced and reasoned and worried and planned, the body was faithfully below all of that, doing its work without complaint or praise. The heart beating its steady measure, the lungs expanding and contracting, the 1,000 quiet processes of digestion and circulation, of immune response and cellular repair, all of it happening beneath the surface of your awareness. The body is not a vehicle you drive. It is more like a very wise and loyal companion who follows wherever you lead, often at great cost to itself, rarely asking for acknowledgement. Tonight, the body is asking for something simple. It is asking to be allowed to stop moving, to be allowed to release the tension it has been accumulating since morning, to be allowed to soften, to sink, to give up the postures of readiness and effort that the day required. This is not a big request imaginable. Every muscle that has been working wants to rest. In fact, it is the most natural request imaginable. Every muscle, every nerve that has been firing wants to quiet. The whole organism, from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head, is ready for this. Let us begin at the feet. Turn your attention there now to the soles of your feet, which have been in contact with the world all day. If you wore shoes, your feet have been slightly compressed and contained since morning. Even now, they may carry a faint memory of that constraint, a holding in that the body hasn't quite released. Take a breath and, as you exhale, let the feet spread slightly. Let them soften. Let the toes uncurl if they have been holding themselves tight. The feet carry arches and bones and tiny muscles that most of us never think about, a whole geography of structure that serves us without acknowledgement. Give them a moment of attention now, of gratitude even, in whatever quiet way feels right. Feel the ankles. Notice if there is any residual tension there, any holding or guarding. Breathe into the ankles, a phrase that might sound strange, but that simply means let your awareness rest there while you exhale, and allow the exhale to carry a little of the tension with it. This is the basic language of physical release, not force, not stretching, just breathing and noticing and allowing. The body is extraordinarily responsive to this kind of gentle attention. It has been waiting for you to arrive. Move your attention slowly upward into the calves. These are muscles that work every time you take a step, and most of us take thousands of steps in a day. They hold a lot. Let them release now. Feel the fibers softening and the muscle bellies growing heavy. Feel the calves sinking into the mattress, heavy as warm bread, and let that heaviness be comfortable rather than concerning. This is the weight of a body that is genuinely at rest. The knees, the thighs, both are holding more than you might realize. The thighs are among the largest muscles in the body, and they carry the physical stress of the day's movement, as well as a subtler kind of tension, the kind that accumulates when we sit for hours in chairs that weren't quite right, when we stand at counters that weren't quite the right height, when we move through the world with a low-grade alertness that tightens the body without our noticing. Let the thighs soften now, heavy and warm, falling gently outward if they want to. The legs don't need to stay together. Let them find whatever position is most comfortable, most easy, most truly at rest. The hips, the pelvis. There is a great deal of tension that migrates to this area of the body, particularly for people who sit for most of the day. The hip flexors, those deep muscles at the front of the pelvis, often carry a kind of chronic tightening from hours of being folded at 90 degrees. They may be reluctant to fully release even now. That is all right. Just let your awareness rest there, warm and neutral, without demanding change. The body knows what to do when given attention without pressure. Over the course of this night, the hips will continue their own unwinding in their own time. Your body did a great deal of work today that you did not ask for and may not have noticed. The immune system ran its quiet patrols. The gut processed everything you put into it, extracting what was useful and releasing what was not. The heart, beating perhaps 70 times a minute, pushed blood through 40 miles of vessels to every cell that needed oxygen. The liver filtered and the kidneys regulated, while the lungs exchanged gases in a continuous transaction with the air. None of this required your conscious direction. The body's automatic intelligence simply continued, as it always does, maintaining the complex equilibrium of your existence while you attended to whatever the day demanded. Tonight, in the absence of demand, this intelligence can redirect its considerable resources toward repair. This is what sleep provides, a shift in priority, from maintenance to restoration. Let it begin. There is also a particular kind of intelligence in the body that the modern world tends to undervalue. We have become so thoroughly identified with the thinking mind, with the voice in the head that reasons and plans and evaluates, that we have largely forgotten the older intelligence that lives below it. The body remembers things the mind has long since stopped thinking about. It holds the memory of every significant experience, encoding it not in language but in texture and temperature and tone. in the quality of the breath, in the readiness or relaxation of the musculature. When you turn your attention to the body with real care, as we have been doing, you are reading a text that was written in a different language. You are attending to an account of your life that is far more honest than anything the mind would construct, because the body has no motive to lie. There is something worth knowing here about the relationship between the body and the emotional experience of the day. The body does not neatly separate the physical from the emotional. A stressful conversation creates a physical response, a tightening of the chest, a rise in the heart rate, a subtle bracing throughout the musculature. A moment of worry is a whole body event, not just a mental one. This means that the tension you may be feeling in your back or your shoulders or your belly is not purely physical. It is the physical residue of your emotional experience. The body is holding the day the same way your mind is holding it, in its own language. This is actually quite a beautiful thing once you understand it, because it means that releasing physical tension is also a form of emotional processing. When the muscles of your jaw let go, something emotional releases with them. When the breath deepens and the chest opens, the feeling that was caught there begins to move. The body and the mind are not separate. They are two aspects of the same process. Tending to one always tends to the other. So as we move through the body tonight, we are doing more than relaxation. We are doing a kind of gentle processing, allowing the day's experiences to find their completion in the body, to be felt and released rather than held and stored. This is how the body was designed to work. An animal that encounters stress moves through it, literally. It shakes, it runs, it performs the physical action that the nervous system called for. We, in our modern lives, often suppress that cycle. We feel the alarm but hold still. We experience the threat but sit in our chairs. The tension accumulates unresolved, and at night it keeps us from rest. You can help that cycle complete itself gently and slowly through the simple practice of turning your attention to the body and breathing. You don't need to do anything dramatic. Just notice. Just breathe. Just allow the body to complete what it was trying to do. Let us continue moving upward. The lower back. This is, for many people, one of the great repositories of the day's accumulated tension. The lower back supports a remarkable amount. It holds the weight of the upper body and the strain of sitting and standing and lifting, as well as the subtle bracing that comes with hours of screen work. Let it sink now into the mattress beneath you, as much as it will. If there is any discomfort there, breathe into it, not through it, not away from it, but into it, with warmth and patience. The lower back often holds a kind of protective vigilance, a readiness to support weight that doesn't need to be borne lying down. Let it know, quietly, that nothing needs support right now. The mattress is doing all of that. The middle and upper back, the space between the shoulder blades, where so much of the day's postural strain collects. Imagine the muscles there as a fist, slowly opening. The knuckles, tightly clenched for hours, now releasing one by one. The hand, gradually flattening, spreading, becoming open and soft. Let that image inform the sensation in your back. Open, spread, soft. The vertebrae, which have been stacked and compressed all day, now given the gift of length, the gentle decompression that only horizontal rest provides. This feels good if you let yourself feel it. The spine is relieved to be horizontal. The discs that have been compressed all day begin their nightly process of rehydration, drinking in the fluid that was squeezed out during the hours of upright weight. Your spine, right now, is regenerating. Let it. Regenerating. Let it. The shoulders. These have been working in ways that go far beyond the physical. Shoulders are where we carry what we cannot put down, metaphorically and literally. The phrase shouldering a burden exists for a reason. The body knows something about how we store what we feel responsible for. Bring your attention to both shoulders now. Notice if they are raised at all, even slightly, toward your ears. This is a very common pattern, a subtle bracing for impact that many of us maintain around the clock. Breathe in. As you exhale, let the shoulders drop, not dramatically, just a few millimeters of release, a letting go of the brace, a signal to the body that no impact is coming tonight. The arms, the hands. For many people, the hands are among the tightest places in the body at the end of a day of typing and scrolling and gripping and holding. The fingers may have a tendency to curl slightly even now. Notice your hands. Notice the palms, whether they are open or closed. Breathe out and let the fingers uncurl. Let the palms open. Let the hands rest as open flowers rather than closed fists. There is a symbolism here that is worth noting. Closed hands hold on. Open hands release. Open hands receive. The practice of letting the hands rest open at night is a small physical declaration. I am not holding on to anything right now. What is mine will still be mine in the morning. Tonight, I release my grip. The chest, the throat, these are tender places. The chest is where grief and longing and love tend to gather. The throat is where we hold the words we didn't say and the feelings we swallowed. The expressions that weren't safe or timely tend to collect there too. Let your attention rest here, in the chest, just below the sternum, where so much emotional weather tends to live. Whatever is there, whatever you find there tonight, it belongs to you. You don't have to fix it or analyze it. You can simply acknowledge its presence. The way you might acknowledge the presence of an old friend sitting quietly in the room. It is there, you see it. That is enough. Breathe into the chest now, not a performance of deep breathing, just an easy expansion, as much as the body comfortably allows. Feel the ribs widen slightly. Feel the heart at the center of all this, beating its patient rhythm, as it has beaten all day and will beat through the night, keeping its faithful watch. The heart is the most hardworking muscle in your body, and unlike all the others, it never takes a day off. Tonight, in your rest, the heart can work more gently. Its rate will slow. Its labor will ease. Let that ease be something you participate in, by lying still, by breathing slowly, by giving the heart the environment it needs to rest within your resting. The neck, the face. These hold a great deal, particularly for people who spend their days in social environments, managing impressions and expressions, holding up the face they need the world to see. Let the neck soften into the pillow, all the small postural muscles releasing their vigilance. Let the face do the same. Let the forehead smooth out and the brow release. The eyes can rest behind their closed lids and the cheeks can go soft, with the lips lightly parted if that feels comfortable. The face you wear for the world is not needed here. This is the face of a person who is resting, which is perhaps the truest face you have. Now take a moment to feel the whole body together, from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head, one long continuous thing, resting, heavy, warm, soft, in contact with the bed along its entire length. Breathing. There is something profound in this posture that we often forget because it is so familiar. Lying down is an act of trust. When you are horizontal, when you have released the upright stance that the waking world requires, you are in the posture of the trusting creature, the creature that feels safe enough to stop standing guard. Every animal that lies down to sleep has made a calculation, whether consciously or not, that the environment is safe enough for vulnerability. You are making that calculation right now. This place is safe. This night is safe. The person in this bed is allowed to be undefended. There is also something in the body scan itself that is worth naming. When you travel through the body with attention, bringing warmth and awareness to each part in turn, you are practicing a form of self-care that is entirely internal and costs nothing. Nobody else needs to know about it. It produces no output that the world can measure, yet it is real medicine. Studies of body-based relaxation practices show measurable changes in the stress hormones circulating through the body, measurable reductions in the inflammatory signals that accumulate during times of high stress, measurable improvements in the depth and quality of the sleep that follows. What you have just done matters, even if it felt like nothing much. The body knows how to do the rest of this. It has been waiting patiently for you to arrive here, and now you have. Let it take over. Trust the wisdom of 1 billion years of evolution, of every ancestor who survived partly because their body knew how to sleep, to repair, to restore. You are in good hands. They are your own. Imagine a river, not a dramatic river, not a raging torrent, but a quiet one moving through a landscape of grass and stones. The water is clear. You can see the riverbed through it, smooth stones below the clear water and the occasional flash of something silver passing through. The river moves steadily, unhurried, following the contours of the land with a kind of effortless intelligence. It doesn't fight the stones it meets. It flows around them. It doesn't resent the curves in its course. It simply moves with what is there. This is the mind, not as it always feels, perhaps, not as the constant noise and urgency of the daytime mind, but as it actually is, at its deepest level, a flowing, a continuous movement of experience, of sensation and thought and feeling, passing through awareness the way water passes through a channel. The problem is not the river. The problem is what we do with it. The problem is when we jump in and try to fight the current, or when we try to dam it, or when we thrash around in the middle of it demanding that it stop. A river cannot stop. Expecting it to is the source of a great deal of suffering. There is a teaching, very old, that I find myself returning to often at this hour of the night. It says simply, "You are not the river. You are the bank." The bank does not fight the current. It does not try to redirect the water or hold it still. It simply sits, solid and steady, while the water moves past. The bank is present to the river without being swept away by it. The bank exists in relationship to the river without losing itself to the river. This is what we are practicing tonight. Not the suppression of thoughts, not the achievement of some ideal blankness, but the cultivation of the bank, the steady, solid, present awareness that can sit beside the flowing mind and watch it move without being carried away. When a thought appears, you notice it, the way the bank notices the particular rush of water after a rain. You see it, you feel its energy, you don't jump in. You watch it pass, and then the water is ordinary again, and you are still here, on the bank, undisturbed. This practice is harder than it sounds and easier than you might fear. It is harder because the current has tremendous pull. The thoughts that arise at night often feel urgent, often wear the costume of things that genuinely need attention right now. The mind is very good at generating a sense of importance around whatever it is thinking about. It can make a trivial concern feel like a crisis. It can make a passing worry feel like a fundamental truth. The urgency is real. Whether the thought is important is a different question entirely. It is easier than you fear because you have been doing it all day, in small ways, without knowing it. Every time you noticed a distracting thought and returned your attention to what you were doing, you were sitting on the bank. Every time you chose not to respond to a provocation, not to follow a rabbit trail, not to engage with something that wasn't worth your energy, you were sitting on the bank. You already have this capacity. We are simply making it more conscious, more deliberate, more available to you in the quiet hours when the thoughts can seem louder because everything else has gone silent. So let us practice now. Feel the breath, rising and falling. Let the breath be the bank you are sitting on. It is always there, always moving, always reliable. When a thought arises and pulls your attention away from it, notice that you have drifted, gently, without criticism, and simply return to the breath. The breath is flowing. The thought is a bit of driftwood that passed through. You didn't need to climb aboard. You stayed on the bank, and here you are. In the Zen story I once encountered, a student asked a teacher how long they would need to practice before the mind became quiet. The teacher said, "The mind will never become quiet." The student was troubled by this, but the teacher continued, "Quiet is not what we are seeking. We are seeking something more interesting than quiet. We are seeking the ability to rest in the presence of the movement without being at the mercy of it. A mind that can be with its own noise without being controlled by it is a mind at peace, whether or not it is silent." This reframing has helped many people I know. The goal is not a blank screen. The goal is not to achieve some state of mental emptiness that would make you unrecognizable to yourself. The goal is a different relationship to the contents of your own mind. Like the difference between standing in the middle of a busy road and standing on the footpath beside it. The traffic is the same. Your relationship to it is entirely different. At this hour, the river of your mind is carrying the residue of today. You can feel the particular flavor of this evening's current. Perhaps it runs heavy with a problem that hasn't resolved itself. Perhaps it carries the faint aftertaste of a conflict, something sharp and uncomfortable. Perhaps it is lighter than that, carrying only the ordinary sediment of the day. Small frustrations and minor satisfactions, and the unremarkable texture of having moved through another Tuesday. Whatever the river is carrying tonight, watch it from the bank. Here is something you may notice as you watch. The thoughts are not all the same. Some are urgent, some are gentle, some demand attention, and some drift past almost silently. Some carry emotional weight, and some are nearly empty. Notice these differences without ranking them, without deciding that the light thoughts are good and the heavy ones are bad. They are all simply what is passing through. Even the heaviest and most insistent thought is still just a thought, still just water, still going to move downstream eventually whether you engage with it or not. The bank is patient. The bank has been sitting beside this river for a long time. It is not disturbed by the heavy waters of autumn or the quick, shallow flow of summer. It holds its shape through all of it because it is made of something different from the river, something more solid, more permanent. In your own awareness, you have this solidity too, beneath the flowing thoughts, beneath the anxiety and the to-do lists and the replaying of conversations. There is something in you that simply watches, that is not troubled by the trouble, that is not frightened by the fear, that can hold the anxiety in its awareness without becoming anxious. Finding that quality is the work of a lifetime, and also the work of this moment. You don't have to go looking for it dramatically. You are probably already touching it right now in the slight sense of peace that comes from simply lying still and letting a voice guide your attention towards something other than your own worry. That slight peace, that fraction of an inch of distance from the thoughts, is the bank. It is already there. It has always been there. We are simply learning to inhabit it more fully. The river keeps moving. It is moving right now, carrying whatever it carries. From the bank, you can hear the sound of it, a continuous soft rushing, and the sound is not unpleasant. It is simply the sound of the mind doing what minds do. From the bank, you can feel the coolness of it nearby, that familiar aliveness, and you can appreciate it without being swept into it. From the bank, you can watch the light on the water, which is sometimes beautiful even when the current is strong. Let your thoughts be the river tonight. Let them move. Let them carry what they carry. Let them do what rivers do, which is to keep moving, to find their way eventually to the sea. Your only task is to stay on the bank, breathing, present, watching, warm there, in the grass, safe there, in the stillness, the water moving, always moving, past you and away. Further downstream, past the bends you cannot see from where you sit, the river widens. It slows. The current that was quick and energetic here becomes something different, something broader and more patient. The water, which was moving so urgently a short distance back, spreads out across the floodplain and becomes very still. You don't need to travel there. The river will find it on its own, but it is useful to know it is there, that the same mind which is busy now contains within it a place of expansion, of spreading out, of slowing down. Sleep is something like that floodplain. The mind doesn't stop when you sleep. It spreads out. It becomes very slow and very wide, and in that spreading, something restores itself. Something that had been narrow and pressured opens up and breathes. You are moving toward that floodplain now. You have been moving toward it since you lay down. Every breath is downstream. Every moment of returning from the thought to the breath is a step further along the bank, closer to where the water widens. You don't have to hurry. The river knows the way. There is a particular quality to the water at night that is different from the daytime river. In daylight, you can see it clearly, can assess its speed and depth and direction. At night, you know it mainly through sound. The sound of water running over stones has a character that daylight watching doesn't have. It asks nothing of your eyes. It reaches you without requiring you to focus or assess. You simply hear it, and the hearing itself is restful, because the ear is a less effortful sense than the eye, and at night the ear can relax into sound the way the body relaxes into warmth. Listen for the sound of the river now in your imagination. Let it be quiet enough that you have to attend slightly to hear it, not so loud that it demands attention, just present enough to be real. The water moving over the stones, the slight variation in pitch and rhythm as the current changes over different shapes of rock, the places where the water eddies and circles back on itself, making a slightly different sound from the main flow. This river is complex and alive, and it is yours tonight, running just at the edge of hearing, carrying the day away from you. The bank beneath you is soft with grass. The night air is cool and mild. Your breath is slow and quiet. The thoughts come and go as the water comes and goes, arriving, passing, receding. Nothing holds. Nothing sticks. The river is always new water. The thought that came a moment ago is already downstream and gone. What comes next is new. What is here now is brief and passing. What comes next is new. This is the nature of the mind, and tonight you are at peace with it. There is a kind of intelligence in water that ancient peoples recognized and named. Water always finds the lowest point. It does not resist the landscape it moves through. It accepts every contour of the earth and follows it without complaint, without insisting the land be different from how it is. In this, water is a teacher of acceptance. The river does not fight the boulders it encounters. It moves around them, over them, eventually through the smallest cracks in them, patient on a time scale that makes human persistence look brief. You need not be patient on that scale tonight. You need only be patient for this one night, this one stretch of dark, this one occasion of lying still and letting what wants to move, move. Let the river be patient on your behalf tonight. Let it carry what you cannot. Let it find the lowest point, the place of least resistance, which is always the place of rest. The water knows where that is. The body knows where that is. The body knows where that is. Between them, the way is clear. Stay on the bank. Let the current carry what it carries. Let the night deepen around you, quiet and dark, while the water moves and the stars appear above it, reflected in the places where the surface goes still. This is enough. This is more than enough. There is a practice that certain philosophers developed many centuries ago, long before the age of constant connectivity, though they knew their own versions of relentless demand. They called it, in various forms, the evening review, a quiet accounting of the day that was not about judgment, but about clarity. Before sleep, they would sit with the day just past and ask a simple series of questions. What happened today that was within my control? What happened today that was not? Of the things within my control, how did I meet them? Of the things outside my control, did I waste my energy fighting them? This kind of reflection might sound like more thinking rather than less, more engagement when what the evening calls for is release. But there is a particular quality to this practice that transforms it from rumination into rest. The key is in the second question, what was not within your control? Because most of us, if we are honest, spend the majority of our mental energy on exactly those things we cannot change, on other people and their choices, on outcomes that were never ours to determine, on the circumstances we found ourselves in without choosing them. There is a practice worth trying before we go further, a simple one that costs nothing and takes less than a minute. Close your eyes a little more fully if they are not already closed, and call to mind one thing that is bothering you right now, one thought that has been circling. Hold it in mind for just a moment. Now ask, is this mine? Is this something I could have determined? Is this within the circle of my choices and my responses, or did it arrive from outside that circle? Just sit with the question. No answer is required out loud. The question itself does something. The Stoics had a very clear view of this distinction. They said that within your control are only two things, your choices and your responses. Everything else, and it is a very large everything, lives outside the circle of your authority. The traffic and the economy lie outside your authority. What other people think and say and do cannot be directed by you. The news cycle proceeds without your input. The health of your body and the behavior of institutions, the arc of your career, these are all subject to forces larger than any single person can manage. The feelings that arise in other people when they encounter you belong to them, not to you. None of this is within your control. All of it is subject to forces larger, more numerous, and more complicated than any single person can direct. This sounds bleak when stated baldly. In practice, for those who genuinely take it in, it is one of the most liberating ideas in the history of human thought. Because the moment you accept that these things are truly outside your power, you are released from the obligation to manage them. You are freed from the exhausting project of trying to control what cannot be controlled. Your energy, which has been leaking in all directions into all the uncontrollable things, can come back to the center. It can return to the only place where it can actually do anything, your own response and choice, your own interior life. Consider what you were working with today. Think of the day not as a sequence of events, but as two distinct categories. The things that were yours to determine and the things that simply happened. Perhaps you were kind in a conversation that could have gone badly. That was yours. Perhaps you prepared carefully for something that didn't go as expected anyway. The preparation was yours. The outcome was not. Perhaps you encountered something genuinely difficult, something you didn't cause and couldn't prevent, and you found some way to continue through it. That finding, that small act of continuing, was yours. What was not yours? The difficult email that arrived, the comment from someone who was having their own bad day and didn't manage it gracefully, the decision made by someone with authority over the situation, the plan that changed because circumstances changed, the body that got tired faster than you wanted it to. None of these were yours to determine. They arrived, as things do, from outside the circle. Yet, if you are like most thoughtful people, you spent considerable energy today, as if they were your fault, or your responsibility, or your failure. This spending, this leaking of energy toward what cannot be controlled, is one of the primary sources of the modern exhaustion we were speaking about earlier. It is not just the volume of work that tires people so profoundly, it is the effort of worrying about things that are not, in the end, theirs to carry. the burden of holding yourself responsible for outcomes you could not have determined. The weight of that kind of false responsibility is immense, and it is largely invisible, which makes it harder to set down. Tonight, in this quiet, let us see if we can do a small version of the Stoic accounting, not a full audit, not a judgment, just a gentle sorting. Take one thing from today that is still bothering you, something that hasn't settled, that keeps presenting itself when you try to be still. Hold it lightly in awareness for a moment. Now ask, was this within my control? Not in the abstract, not ideally, but in practice, in the actual situation as it existed. Was the thing that troubles you something you could have determined, or was it something that arrived from outside and unfolded according to forces beyond your direction? If it was within your control, there is something useful to recognize. You met it as best you could with the resources and information you had at the time. If you would do something differently in hindsight, that is information, not failure. Hindsight is a gift. It costs nothing to have it now. The person you were this morning didn't have it yet. What was done by someone doing their best with what they knew. That person deserves a degree of compassion, not condemnation. If it was outside your control, then this evening's worry about it is a tax being paid on something that was never yours to purchase in the first place. You are spending energy from a budget that was already spent. The thing happened. It is in the past, which is the most thoroughly outside your control place there is. The past is not asking you to fix it. It cannot be fixed. The past is asking only to be accepted, to be acknowledged as a thing that happened, now finished, now simply part of the permanent record of what occurred. There is a gentleness available in this acceptance. Not a resigned or defeated gentleness, but something cleaner. The relief of putting down a bag you have been carrying that was never yours. Of saying, plainly and without drama, that is not mine. It happened. It is past. It is not my burden to carry into tonight. The Stoics practiced this kind of release systematically, as an evening discipline rather than an occasional relief. They called it an examination of the day, a sitting down with what had occurred and an honest sorting of it, not self-flagellation, not performance, just clarity. What was I responsible for? What was not mine? Where did I use my freedom well? Where did I let the moment carry me somewhere I didn't choose? This sorting, done with the mild curiosity of someone organizing a drawer rather than the severity of a judge, produces a particular kind of peace. It is the peace of someone who knows where they stand. Not perfect, not blameless, but honest. Knowing what is theirs and what is not. This does not mean nothing matters. The Stoics were not people without passion or commitment. They cared deeply about their work, their relationships, their communities, their own growth. What they cared about was doing what was theirs to do, and doing it as well as possible, and then releasing the outcome. The archer, they sometimes said, is responsible for the quality of the shot. Once the arrow is released, the wind does what the wind does. The target may shift at the last moment. The archer's work ends with the release, and whatever follows is part of the larger world that was never under any single person's authority. You have released a great many arrows today. Some flew straight, some did not. The ones that flew straight are complete. The ones that did not, well, they too are released now, beyond the bow, beyond your hand, somewhere in the larger world where outcomes live without our permission. Tomorrow will offer a new quiver. Tonight, the bow is at rest. Breathe out. Feel that breath as a small act of release, a micro-exhalation of all the false burdens you have been carrying. The things that were not yours. The outcomes you couldn't determine. The worries that were paying rent in your body without contributing anything to the situation. Let them go with the exhale. Not frantically, not with force. just quietly, like setting down a bag when you finally reach the place where bags are put down. What remains, once the false burdens are released, is the part of today that was truly yours, your choices, your effort, your kindness or patience or perseverance or creativity. These are real. These belong to you in the deepest sense. Whatever else the day contained, this small collection of genuine choices is yours to keep permanently, because no one can take from you what you actually decided. The Stoics considered this the only true wealth, not what happened to you, but what you did in response. Tonight, rest in that wealth. Whatever you manage today, whatever small or large or invisible acts of humanity you brought to the world, they are complete. They happened. They cannot be undone. The record is written. There is a particular peace available in the Stoic evening that differs from ordinary tiredness. Ordinary tiredness is exhaustion without resolution, the feeling of having expended energy without knowing what it was for. But the Stoic evening, when you have done the quiet accounting, when you have separated what was yours from what was not, when you have acknowledged your effort and released the outcome, offers something else. A tiredness that has found its container. The effort has a shape. The day has a boundary. You can set it down because it is defined. Try this now. Close your eyes a little more completely if you haven't already. Take a breath. In your mind, see the day as a completed shape, a rectangle of time, beginning and ending, with you inside it. You are not inside it anymore. You are outside it, looking at it from the quiet evening side, the side that belongs to rest. The rectangle holds everything that happened, sealed. Tomorrow is a different rectangle, not yet open, wheeled. Between them is this, the dark and the breath, the stillness and the particular peace of someone who has shot their arrows and put down the bow. Now the bow is down, and the philosopher who carried it all day is lying in the dark, breathing, releasing, preparing, in the quietest possible way for tomorrow's new quiver. Long before cities existed, long before books or wheels or the first settlements in river valleys, there were people lying awake at night. Not like you perhaps, not with the specific worries of this era, but with the ancient version of the same fundamental experience. The day would end, the fire would burn low, the darkness pressed in close, and the mind still turned over whatever had happened when the sun was high. Our ancestors knew the night in a way that most of us have forgotten. They lay under a sky unpolluted by artificial light, a sky so thick with stars it must have seemed almost to have weight. They heard sounds we have seemed almost to have weight. They heard sounds we have silenced, the full nocturnal orchestra of a world without motors or machines. They felt the cold that we have insulated ourselves against. The genuine chill of the earth without heating systems was simply part of every night, and the need to press together for warmth was real and constant. In some ways, their nights were harder than ours. In other ways, perhaps, there was a simplicity to it, a clarity about the transition from day to night that our always-on world has obscured. What they shared with you, though, is everything that is most essential about this moment. The body tired, the need for rest, the particular quality of the lying down in the dark after a day of effort, the breath slowing, the muscles releasing, the consciousness beginning its long journey toward the morning. This is the same across every human generation. You are part of a chain that goes back further than recorded history, further than the oldest stories, back into a time when the only records were the stars and the caves and the bones of people who lay down one last time. Consider, for just a moment, what it means to share something with every human who has ever lived. Not a belief or tradition, but something prior to all of those, something that predates every culture. The body lying down in darkness with eyes closed and breath slowing, the transition from waking into sleep. Every human life has included this exact moment. Yours is including it now. In this particular moment, in this particular way, you are doing something that has always been done by people like you, which is to say, by people. There is something comforting in this long view if you can take it in. Your individual anxieties, which feel so large and so specific and so personal, are part of a very large and very old human experience. Every person who has ever lain awake with worry has found their way through to morning. Every generation that thought the world was ending, that felt the particular terror of their own era's unique dangers, woke up and kept going. Not all of them, of course. Life has always included loss and difficulty, but the species, the long human project, has shown a remarkable persistence that is easy to forget when you are lying in the dark at the center of your own concerns. You are not alone in this night. This is worth sitting with for a moment. Right now, as you lie here, there are millions of other people at this same threshold, in every time zone, in every climate, in every kind of life. People who worked hard and came home tired. People who are carrying worries you will never know about. People who are lying in beds very different from yours, under different skies, speaking different languages in their dreams, but doing the same essential thing, trying to let go of the day and find their way into rest. The human family, going to sleep in waves, like a single breathing thing, as the world turns and the dark falls on each longitude in turn. A philosopher I once read described sleep as the great leveler, not death, as the old saying has it, but sleep. In sleep, the powerful and the powerless alike must surrender. The person who directs large organizations and the person who answers to them both, in the end, lie down in the dark and close their eyes and give up the controls they spent all day trying to keep in their hands. The body, in sleep, knows nothing of hierarchy. It asks only for rest, from everyone equally, and eventually it gets it. There is something democratic and deeply human in this. Whatever your circumstances, whatever your position in the complicated architecture of the world, tonight you are simply a person lying down in the dark, the same as anyone else in that posture, the same as everyone who has ever been in that posture. The breath that fills your lungs is made of the same elements as the breath that filled the lungs of every human being who came before you. The carbon that makes up your body was once part of other things, other lives, other forms. You are, in a very literal sense, made from the world that preceded you. This thought, which sounds abstract in the daytime, has a particular quality at night that I find worth dwelling on. There is a continuity to existence that the anxious mind tends to forget. The world that was here before you is still here. It will be here after you. This does not diminish you. It places you. It gives you context, a sense of scale that is not crushing but actually relieving. You are part of something very large, and that something is moving forward under its own power, carrying you with it whether you are managing it or not. Indigenous traditions across the world have understood this in ways that Western secular culture has largely lost. The sense of being embedded in the land, in the cycles of seasons, in the longer story of the community and the ancestors. The sense that the individual self is not a separate island but a thread in a weaving that goes back and forward in time in ways the individual cannot fully see. When you have that sense of embeddedness, rest becomes easier. You are not responsible for the whole weaving. You are responsible only for your own thread, and even your thread is held in place by all the others around it. Tonight, in the dark, try to feel that thread. Feel the length of it, extending back before your birth into the lives that preceded yours, the people who carried the genetics and the stories and the accumulated wisdom that you are the inheritor of. You did not arrive in the world alone. You arrived as the latest expression of a very long line. Now extend the thread forward too, into the days you don't know yet, into the ordinary Tuesdays and the significant days that will arrive in their own time, the whole long continuation of your particular version of the human story. This continuity does not solve any specific problem. It does not change the difficult email that is waiting in your inbox, or the conversation you need to have, or the worry that has been your constant companion for the last several weeks. But it changes the size of those things, just slightly, just enough. When you feel the thread, the problems are still there, but they are smaller in relation to the whole. The context is larger, the self is less isolated, the night is less strange. Ancient people were afraid of the dark in ways that we are not, because for them the dark contained genuine dangers that our insulated, illuminated world has mostly eliminated. Yet they also had a relationship with the dark that we have largely lost. They knew it as a regular visitor, an expected part of every cycle. They prepared for it. They lived with it. They understood, through the long practice of generations, that the dark always ends, that every night, no matter how long or difficult, eventually becomes morning. This knowing, passed down through thousands of years of human experience, lives somewhere in your body. It is part of the deep inheritance of being human. The night will end, your particular worries, in the larger scale of your life, and certainly in the much larger scale of human history, are temporary. This does not minimize them. It simply gives them the proportion they actually have. Tonight, you rest in the continuity. You are one person among billions lying down in the dark, one link in a chain that stretches back further than memory, one small bright thread in a weaving that the world continues to make without requiring your constant involvement. Think of all the people in human history who lay down with worries that felt enormous, who lay awake turning over problems that seemed, from inside the experience, like the end of everything, who wondered, in the dark, how they would get through what tomorrow held. Nearly all of them did get through it. Nearly all of them did get through it. Nearly all of them woke to a morning that was, whatever else it brought, a morning. The fear and the difficulty were real. The morning was also real, reliable, independent of whether anyone believed it would come. Yours will come too. It is already on its way, moving toward you across the curve of the earth, at the same rate it always has, unhurried, certain, indifferent to your worry about it. Let that be restful. Let the enormity of it be a comfort rather than an overwhelm. You are held in something much larger than yourself, and it does not need you to stay awake. Feel, if you can, the ground beneath this bed, the mattress, then the bed frame, then the floor, then the foundation, then the earth itself, reaching down beneath you in layers of stone and sediment and mineral that go deeper than any building humans have ever made. The earth is holding you right now, not metaphorically. Literally, the planet's gravity keeps you in this bed, keeps the air in this room, keeps the night sky in its place above you. You do not have to hold yourself up against this force. It is holding you. There is a very old practice, found in various forms across contemplative traditions, of imagining oneself as a stone settling to the bottom of a still pond, slowly, unhurried, sinking through water that offers gentle resistance, layer by layer, until coming to rest on the sand at the very bottom, still, cool, held. Above all this, the water continues its slow movement. The surface shimmers with whatever light reaches it, but the stone at the bottom is still, completely, profoundly, absolutely still. Let yourself be that stone tonight. Let the earth hold you the way the pond bottom holds the stone, with the quiet, impassive certainty of something that has been doing this for a very long time. The thread goes back and it goes forward, and in this moment it runs through you, right here, right now, in this bed, in this dark. This is the middle of the thread, this precise moment, this breath. It connects everything that came before to everything that comes after. It is ordinary and remarkable and completely sufficient. It does not need you to be anywhere else. The thread holds itself. You hold it simply by being here, by breathing, by continuing, as all the others before you continued, through the night toward the morning. Let the enormity of it be a comfort rather than an overwhelm. You are held. Sleep now. You will notice, if you have been practicing any of what we have talked about tonight, that your attention wanders. This is not a failure. It is, in fact, the most important thing that can happen, because it gives you the opportunity to practice the only thing that matters in this kind of work: the return. The return is everything, not staying, not maintaining perfect continuous focus on the breath or on the voice or on the feeling of the body against the mattress. The return, the moment you notice you have drifted and come back. This noticing and returning is what builds the capacity for rest. It is what all the great meditation traditions point to. It is the actual practice, the thing that develops the skill. The movement itself, rather than the destination, is what matters. Here is the strange and beautiful paradox. The more often you drift and return, the more effective the practice. Not despite the drifting, but including it. Every distraction is an opportunity. Every time the mind grabs for the thought and you notice it and come back to the breath, you have done the work. You have exercised the muscle. You have strengthened the part of you that can observe and choose rather than simply being carried. If your attention drifted once tonight and returned once, something has happened. If it drifted 100 times and returned 100 times, a great deal has happened. This is a very different relationship to distraction than most of us are used to. In daily life, distraction is a problem to be minimized. We install website blockers and put our phones in other rooms and try to create conditions under which the mind will not be tempted away from whatever we are trying to accomplish. This is reasonable in the daytime when the task has specific requirements, but at night, in rest, the approach is different. We don't fight the distraction. We allow it to be there, we notice when we have followed it, and we simply come back. The breath is where we come back to. This is the anchor, not because the breath is more interesting than your thoughts. It is usually quite unremarkable, but because it is always there. The breath is the one thing that is genuinely available in every moment, that doesn't require good conditions or specific circumstances, that will still be there after the most dramatic distraction and the most confusing thought spiral. It is the reliable constant. The home base, the place the wandering attention can always return to, because it never goes anywhere. Let us find it again now if it has drifted while we have been talking. The breath, wherever it is most present for you right now, perhaps at the tip of the nose, where the cool air arrives and the warm air departs. Perhaps in the chest, that slight expansion and release. Perhaps in the belly, the gentle wave of the abdomen rising and falling. Wherever you feel it most clearly, let your attention rest there now, not gripping it, not trying to control the breath's rhythm, just observing. Just being present to this one thing, this ancient and loyal thing that has been happening in your body since the moment you were born. There is something quietly radical about choosing the breath as an anchor. In a world where nearly every system competes for your attention, where the most sophisticated minds of our generation have spent years designing things to pull your attention away from what you intended and toward what they have prepared for you, choosing the breath is an act of reclamation. The breath cannot be monetized. It carries no advertisement. It does not want to sell you anything. It is simply yours, simply present, simply doing its work without any agenda beyond keeping you alive. Returning to it is returning to something that belongs entirely to you, that no one else has any claim on, that exists in pure uncommodified service. There is something restful in that itself. Notice the in-breath. Notice how it arrives. There is a quality to the beginning of an inhale that is slightly different from the middle of it, a kind of gathering, a filling. Follow it through its arc. Notice the pause at the top, that brief natural pause where the direction is about to change, where inhalation is complete and exhalation hasn't yet begun. This pause is real, Though brief, you can learn to notice it. It is one of the small wonders of the breath that most people pass through without observing, a tiny moment of suspension between one movement and the next. Then the exhale. Notice how it begins, a different quality from the inhale, a releasing rather than a receiving. Follow it out. Let it be complete. Let the lungs empty at a natural pace, without rushing, without extending it artificially, just following the breath out to where it ends. Notice the pause at the bottom, which tends to be longer than the pause at the top, a moment of genuine emptiness before the next breath arrives. These pauses at the bottom of the exhale are worth knowing. They are small pockets of stillness within the movement. They are the quiet at the center of the breath. In certain meditative traditions, the breath is understood not just as a physiological process, but as a teacher. The in-breath teaches receiving, opening, allowing things to come in. The exhale teaches releasing, letting go, allowing things to pass through without holding them. The pause at the top teaches fullness, completion, the moment of having enough. The pause at the bottom teaches emptiness. It teaches the willingness to be without and the trust that what is needed will return. This whole small education happens thousands of times each day, without your awareness, without your consent. Tonight, with your awareness attending, the lesson is available. You don't need to do this perfectly or consciously all night. The breath will continue without your attention. Your body will regulate it far better than your conscious mind could ever manage. But in these moments before sleep, spending a little time with the breath as a conscious practice is one of the kindest things you can do for yourself. It brings the mind and body into alignment. It signals to the nervous system that it is safe to shift toward rest. It occupies the restless mind with something simple enough not to spark new anxieties, but present enough to keep it from wandering into the difficult territory. There is a type of breathing that the nervous system responds to very specifically. Long exhales, slightly longer than the inhales, activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of your nervous system responsible for rest and repair. This is not folk wisdom. It is measurable in the body. When the exhale is longer than the inhale, the heart rate slows, the digestive system activates. The muscles release their readiness, and the body moves from the alert state into the recovery state. You can use this deliberately if you like. Try an inhale that lasts about 4 counts, followed by an exhale that lasts about 6. This is not a rigid formula, it is a general direction. Let the out-breath be fuller and longer than the in-breath, and let your body respond. Try that now if you like. Breathe in, counting slowly to 4 in your mind. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then breathe out, slowly, letting the exhale take longer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Feel that exhale, particularly the last half of it, the part where you are releasing more deeply, where the lungs are emptying more fully than they usually do. Feel what happens in the body during that long exhale. A slowing, a setting, a small collapse of the ordinary tension that the body holds even when it thinks it is relaxed. You don't have to count every breath tonight. Just let the sense of a longer exhale stay with you, as a texture more than a technique. A quality of the breath that says, I am releasing, I am letting go. What came in has been received and used, and now it can be released. There is nothing that needs to be held in the lungs any longer than necessary. This is one of the body's most beautiful ongoing demonstrations. Nothing needs to be held permanently. The breath comes in and goes out. The heartbeat arrives and departs. The body is a continuous process of receiving and releasing, and at no point does it clutch at what it has, insisting that the good things stay and the difficulties go. The body receives everything and releases everything with perfect equanimity every second of every day. There is a wisdom in this that the mind, with its tremendous attachment to outcomes and preferences, might learn from. Tonight, let the breath teach you. Let it show you how easy it is to let something go. The exhale knows how to do this without being told, without effort, without loss. What leaves with the exhale is not needed. What returns with the next inhale is what is needed. Back and forth, in and out, receiving and releasing, the body moving through its perfect cycle, while the mind gradually quiets, gradually softens, gradually stops fighting the river and begins to drift with it instead. Return to the breath. You may have drifted during this passage, following some thought I triggered or some association your mind made with something I said. That is completely natural. Come back. The breath is still here, still doing what it does, still patiently waiting for your return. Find it, feel it, rest there for a moment in that simple rhythm, that ancient teacher that never leaves you. The returning itself is worth dwelling on for just a moment more. Every time you come back to the breath, you are practicing a fundamental act of choice. You are not simply reacting to whatever thought arrived and happened to capture your attention. You are choosing, deliberately and gently, where to place your awareness. This capacity for choice is one of the most valuable things you possess, and most of us exercise it far less than we could because the pull of automatic reaction is so strong. Tonight, in this quiet, with nothing at stake, you are exercising it freely. Each return is a small assertion of inner freedom. Each return says, "This is where I choose to be." Over time, this practice extends into the waking hours in ways you might not expect. People who have spent even a few weeks attending regularly to the breath, to the returning, begin to notice that something similar becomes available in difficult moments during the day. A fractional space opens between the stimulus and the response, a tiny pause where choice lives. This pause is the breath pause, the same moment you have been practicing here. It is one of the most useful things a person can develop. Tonight you are building it, breath by breath, return by return, in the most ordinary and profound way. Everything else will keep. There is a story told in several different forms across various traditions about a traveler who arrives at a ferry crossing. The ferryman notices that the traveler is carrying an enormous bundle on their back, loaded with possessions, so heavy that the traveler can barely stand upright. The ferryman agrees to carry them across the water, but when they reach the far bank, the traveler refuses to get off the boat. They stay on board as the ferryman begins to row back to the original shore. The ferryman asks, "Why do you not disembark? You have crossed. You have arrived. This bank is where you are going." The traveler says, "I am afraid. What if I need the boat again? What if I need to go back?" The ferryman says, "The boat will still be here. I will still be here. You can come back to the river whenever you need to cross again. But right now, you have arrived. Put down your bundle. Get off the boat." The traveler, so the story goes, could not do it. They rowed the boat back and forth, across and back, carrying the bundle, refusing to trust the bank, unable to stop crossing because they could not stop fearing the loss of the means to cross. You may recognize something in this traveler. The modern mind, trained by an uncertain world to always have an exit strategy, always have the return trip booked, always keep one foot in the boat, finds it genuinely difficult to fully arrive anywhere. To commit to the bank, to trust that the boat will be there when you need it, and that for right now, the bank is where you are meant to be. Tonight, you are being asked to be on the bank, to have gotten off the boat, to have put down the bundle, at least for these hours. The bundle is everything you have been carrying, the concerns and plans that haven't resolved themselves, the worries and unfinished things, the replaying of difficult moments that keep arriving uninvited. It is real and it is heavy, and you have been carrying it for a long time. Tonight, it does not need to cross any river. Tonight, it can simply rest on the bank beside you. The bundle will be there in the morning. This is the thing that is hardest to believe when you are holding it tightly. It feels as though if you set it down, if you stop paying attention to it, it will disappear or be taken or forget itself somehow. But the concerns don't disappear when you stop attending to them. They are remarkably persistent. Whatever is in that bundle will be there waiting for you when you wake up, intact, available to be picked up again and worked within the daylight hours when the tools for working with it are available. What you are not going to do with it tonight is solve it. The things in the bundle are not solvable in the dark, in the horizontal and the half-dreaming state between waking and sleep. They are solvable, if they are solvable at all, by a mind that is rested, clear, and operating in the full light of day with the full range of its resources available. A tired mind lying in the dark is not that mind. What you are doing by staying awake and attending to the bundle is not solving it. What you are doing is delaying the arrival of the mind that could actually help. So put the bundle down. Set it gently beside you, not thrown away, not abandoned, just set down. You can put your hand on it if you need to, just to feel it there, just to reassure the anxious part of you that it hasn't gone anywhere. It is there, right there. You will pick it up in the morning when the hands that hold it will be so much better equipped to do so. The Buddhists speak extensively about clinging, about the way the mind attaches itself to objects, experiences, people, outcomes, identities, and how this clinging is the root of suffering rather than the cause of safety it pretends to be. Clinging feels like protection. It feels like if you hold on tightly enough to the thing you care about, you can keep it from being taken. But the thing you are holding is usually not the good thing itself. It is the thought about the thing, the mental object you keep returning to. It is the story you are telling yourself about what the thing means and what will happen if you lose it. The actual good things in your life, the actual people and experiences that matter to you, do not become more real by being thought about intensely. They continue to be what they are regardless of your attention to them. What clinging costs is the present moment. While you hold the thought object tightly, you are not here. You are in the mental space where the thought object lives, which is usually either the past, where the thing you fear losing once existed in the form you prefer, or the future, where the thing you fear losing once existed in the form you prefer, or the future, where the thing you fear losing has already been lost and you are suffering its absence. Neither of these is where your body is. Your body is here, in this bed, in this night, in this actual moment. The clinging pulls you away from it. Open the hands, in your imagination or even literally, if you feel it would help. Feel the palms open, the fingers uncurled. Empty hands are not helpless hands. They are hands prepared to receive. A closed fist cannot pick up anything new. An open hand can take whatever the next moment offers, including the gift of a night's deep and genuine rest. There is a meditative instruction that I return to often when I find myself in the grip of a difficult and persistent thought. It goes like this. You can hold the thought lightly. You don't have to put it down completely if that feels impossible. But can you hold it lightly? Can you carry it the way you might carry a stone, not in a clenched fist but resting in an open palm? The stone is still there. You haven't dropped it. But it is no longer squeezing, no longer cutting into the flesh, no longer requiring every bit of your grip strength to maintain. This is available to you right now. Whatever is present in your mind tonight, whatever you have been holding tightly, see if you can shift your relationship to it, from fist to open palm, from gripping to resting. The concern is still there. You haven't solved it or dismissed it. You have simply changed how you are holding it, which changes everything about how it feels. Breathe out, and with the exhale, feel the grip loosen slightly, just slightly. Not a dramatic release, not a forced surrender, just a small unclenching, an acknowledgement that holding on this tightly was doing no good. that the night doesn't require this level of effort, that the hands, like the rest of the body, are allowed to rest. Empty hands are not empty of meaning. They are empty of the burden of holding, which leaves them available for something else. In this state, in the open-handed quality of genuine rest, the mind sometimes offers up something unexpected, an insight that was hidden behind the noise of the clinging, a feeling that has been waiting for the anxiety to clear before it could be felt, a simple awareness of being alive, of breathing, of the particular quality of this night, which will never come again in quite this form. These gifts are available in the open hands. They cannot be found in the fist. Let your hands rest open at your sides, or on your belly, wherever they lie. Feel the slight coolness of the air on the open palms or the warmth where the palms touch the fabric. Let the fingers be soft, uncurled, receptive. This is the posture of someone who has done what they could do and is now willing to receive what is offered. This is the posture of rest. You have done what you could do today, more than you perhaps gave yourself credit for. Your effort was real, even if its effects were not always visible. Your care was genuine, even if it wasn't always received in the way you intended. Your presence mattered in ways you will never be able to fully measure, because influence is largely invisible and long delayed and distributed in ways that defy our ability to trace it. An old Buddhist teaching speaks of the danger of the second arrow. The first arrow is the difficulty itself, the pain and the loss, the hard thing that happened. The second arrow is the one we fire at ourselves, the judgment about having been hurt and the anger at our own vulnerability, the story that says we should have known better or handled it differently or not felt what we felt. The first arrow is often unavoidable. The second arrow is always a choice. Tonight, in the quiet, see if you can choose not to fire the second arrow. Whatever happened today that hurt you or frustrated you or left you feeling diminished in some way, that is the first arrow. It landed. It is real. But the story you tell yourself about what it means about you, the judgment you level at yourself for having been affected, that is the second arrow, and it is in your hand. The self-criticism that adds insult to injury is exactly what we are setting aside tonight. You can set it down, not out of denial, not out of avoidance, but out of the simple recognition that you have already been through enough today. One arrow is sufficient. Compassion for yourself is not indulgence. This is a common misunderstanding, particularly for people who have high standards and who care about doing well. They worry that being gentle with themselves will make them complacent, will erode the drive that moves them forward. But the evidence, both in contemplative experience and in research, points in the other direction. People who can offer themselves genuine compassion, who can meet their own difficulty with something other than harsh judgment, tend to be more resilient, more capable of honest self-assessment, more willing to acknowledge mistakes because the acknowledgement doesn't carry a catastrophic charge. Harshness toward oneself doesn't improve performance. It tends to either freeze or exhaust the person who practices it, and tonight you have no need for either. So lay down the second arrow here, in this bed, in this dark, with these open hands. Lay it down simply, without ceremony, without needing to understand all the reasons or work through all the implications. You can do the understanding later, if it needs to be done. Tonight, the only understanding needed is this: you did what you did, you are who you are, and the next several hours belong to rest. What you gave to the day was given. What you receive tonight is yours. Open hands, receive it. There is music in the pauses. A musician will tell you that the rests in a piece of music are not simply empty space. They are not the absence of music, but a part of it, a component as essential as any note. The pause is where the previous phrase resonates in the air, where the listener's body catches up to what was just heard, where the music takes a breath before it continues. Without the rests, the most beautiful melody would become a wall of sound, undifferentiated and exhausting. The pauses are where the music lives. Your own mind has pauses like this, though you may rarely notice them. Between one thought and the next, there is a brief interval of not thinking. Between the moment a stimulus registers and the moment a response begins to form, there is a tiny gap, a space where the processing is happening but the commentary has not yet begun. These gaps are very small, usually only fractions of a second, but they are real, and they are already a kind of rest. The practice I want to offer you now is simply noticing these gaps, not creating them, not forcing them, not trying to extend them or achieve anything with them, just noticing that they are already there, already present in the natural rhythm of your mind, already a form of quiet that you can learn to recognize. Here is how this tends to work. You observe the breath, as we have been practicing. A thought arises, perhaps connected to something I said, perhaps from the mind's own wandering. You notice the thought, then, before the next thought has quite formed, there is a moment of nothing in particular, a slight openness, a small clear space where the previous thought has ended and the next has not yet begun. This moment is easy to miss because the next thought usually arrives so quickly that the gap seems negligible, but with attention, with the kind of gentle, unhurried attention that late evenings can cultivate, you begin to see it. In certain meditative traditions, these gaps are considered the most important thing in practice, not the quality of the thoughts, not the topics they address, not the emotions they carry, but these tiny spaces between them, these moments of natural stillness that the mind generates on its own without being asked. A teacher in a Tibetan tradition once described these gaps as glimpses of the mind's true nature, which is inherently at rest, inherently open, inherently peaceful, before thoughts arise in it and after they pass through. This is a large claim, and I offer it to you not as something to believe, but as something to notice for yourself. Whether or not there is a profound truth about the nature of mind hidden in these gaps, the practical reality is this: they are already rest. When you can attend to these gaps, even briefly, you are touching something in yourself that is not troubled, not anxious, not caught in the day's concerns. The gap does not have worries in it. The gap does not replay the afternoon. The gap is simply open, briefly, quietly, before the next wave of thought comes through. As you lie here now, let your attention become very quiet and fine, not wide-ranging, not seeking anything, just present, just noticing the texture of consciousness right now. Notice a thought, or a sensation, or a fragment of something. Notice it arise, notice it be present for a moment, and then notice what happens when it begins to fade. Follow it to its edges. Notice the moment when it is ending, when the thought is dissolving rather than building, when it is returning to wherever thoughts return to. In that dissolving, in that returning, there is a gap. Small, brief, quiet. Find one. Take your time. It doesn't matter how small it is. Even a single moment of awareness falling into that gap, even a single fraction of a second of noticing the space between thoughts, is significant. You have found something that was always there and never announced itself. You have found the pause in the music. Over time, if you practice this, something shifts. The gaps seem to widen, though perhaps what is actually widening is your capacity to notice them. The thoughts continue at roughly the same frequency, but the spaces become more apparent, more available, more inhabited. It is a bit like learning to see negative space in a painting, learning to see the shapes that are created by the absence of paint rather than by its presence. Once you can see negative space, a painting becomes a richer thing. The empty areas are no longer invisible. They are an active part of the composition. There is an old Zen instruction that says, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The outward activities are the same. What changes is the space around them. The same action, performed by a mind that can inhabit the gaps, has a different quality, less driven, less anxious, more present to itself. This is not an argument for spiritual attainment. It is just a reminder that the space is more important than it looks, more consequential than its apparent emptiness suggests. The gap between the thinking and the thinking is where life actually happens, unmediated, direct, immediate. Tonight, you are learning to live in that gap for a little while. The spaces in your mind are the negative space of consciousness. They have always been there. They are, in a sense, the ground in which thoughts arise. When you can see them, the experience of your own mind becomes richer and less threatening. The thoughts are still there, but they are defined now by what surrounds them, the open space that both preceded them and will follow them. A thought in the context of open space is very different from a thought that seems to fill the entire universe. This has a particular practical value at night, when the thoughts that arise can feel so large and so definitive. The worry that presents itself in the dark often feels final, like a verdict rather than a passing event. In daylight, surrounded by other things to look at and attend to, the same thought has less room to grow. In the quiet of the night, it can seem to fill the whole of awareness. But if you can find the space around it, the gap before it arrived and after it passes, then the thought loses some of this false definitiveness. It is one thing among many. It arose. It is here. It will pass. The space before it and after it is larger than the thought itself. Breathe slowly. Let the breath be very quiet and very fine. As you exhale, let your attention become almost microscopic in its gentleness. Not searching, not grasping, just available. If a thought arises, that is fine. Notice it. When it ends, notice the ending. In that ending, there is a space. Rest there. For whatever fraction of a second is available to you, that is rest. That is already rest, genuinely, physiologically, mirologically. The brain in the gap between thoughts is doing something different from the brain engaged in thought. That difference is the beginning of sleep. The spaces are widening now, gradually, as the night deepens and the body relaxes and the particular urgency of the day's concerns loses its edge, the spaces between thoughts grow longer. The thoughts become less frequent, less energetic, less defined. They are beginning to lose the hard outlines of daytime thinking and take on the softer, stranger quality of the thoughts that precede sleep. The logic becomes looser. The associations become more fluid. The images, if images come, are not quite controlled, not quite willed, just arising on their own in the way that dreaming arises. This softening is welcome. This is the direction you are moving. Let it happen. Let the thoughts become vaguer. Let the images come if they will. Let the connections be unexpected and slightly illogical. This is the mind beginning to dream, the threshold state that precedes proper sleep. And it is beautiful if you let it be, a landscape at the edges of consciousness where anything can appear and nothing is required to make sense. You are in the space between, not awake in the ordinary sense any longer, not asleep yet, but in the soft country that lies between them. This is a good place to be. Rest in it. There is no requirement to move through it quickly, no pressure to arrive at sleep by any particular time. The space between is itself a form of rest, a valid stopping place, a threshold that has its own value quite apart from where it leads. Many people make the mistake of treating this threshold state as a problem. They notice that they are not yet asleep and interpret this as failure, as evidence that something is wrong with them, as yet another task they are not completing properly. But the threshold is not a malfunction. It is a passage. Every night, every sleeping creature moves through it. Every human being who has ever lived has crossed and recrossed this particular interior landscape more times than they could count. You are not failing to sleep. You are in the process of sleeping, which is a different thing entirely. The musician knows that the final rest of a piece is different from all the others. Earlier rests are held within the context of the music. They breeze between phrases, they separate movements, they hold tension against resolution. The final rest is different. It exists after the last note, after the final phrase has completed itself, after the music has said everything it needed to say. The final rest is not waiting for the next thing. It is complete in itself. It is the piece continuing to resonate in the space of its own ending. You are in something like that final rest right now. The music of the day has played out. The phrases, with their tensions and resolutions, are done. What remains is the resonance. The day, with everything in it, is still ringing faintly in the room of your awareness. You can hear it, if you listen, as a kind of hum behind the silence. Soon even that will fade, and there will be only the silence. Not empty silence. Full silence. Full silence. The silence of something complete. Let the gaps grow wider. Let the music of your waking mind play out its last phrases, with its rests growing longer and longer, until the music is mostly pauses, mostly space, mostly the resonance of something that just ended in a room that is becoming very quiet. Stay here. The space between will carry you the rest of the way. There was once a philosopher who lived in a city. She was well respected, had a productive mind, and spent her days in discourse and writing in the particular exhaustion that comes from sustained intellectual effort. By evening, she was reliably spent, her resources depleted, her thoughts beginning to move in circles rather than forward, the way thoughts do when the fuel that drives them has been used up. On the advice of a friend, she began spending her evenings in a small garden behind her residence. Not a grand garden, nothing that required care or management, just a modest space with a few trees and a stone bench and whatever grew there of its own accord through the seasons. She would go there in the hour before full dark and simply sit. At first, sitting was difficult. The mind, trained by years of active use, kept generating things to think about, problems to solve, arguments to construct, passages to revise. It did not know how to stop, and it resented the implied instruction. She noticed herself cataloging the plants, timing the birds, inventing philosophical observations about the garden as if to justify the time spent there. The mind, unwilling to simply be, made everything into material. Gradually, over many evenings, something changed. It did not change dramatically. It was not an epiphany. It was more like the way a path forms through grass when walked repeatedly. The path doesn't announce itself. One day you look down and notice it has been there for some time. The philosopher noticed, one evening, that she had been sitting in the garden for nearly an hour without having produced a single thought worth writing down. She had simply been there, breathing, noticing the way the light faded and the dark rose, the way the temperature shifted. The sounds emerged that the day's business had covered over. This is what she had been trying to reach, she realized, not through her thinking but through the absence of it, not through production but through reception. The garden, which had been doing what gardens do regardless of whether she was there or not, had been patiently providing all the conditions for this kind of receiving. The trees did not wait for her attention to grow. The birds did not time their songs to her schedule. The dark did not delay its arrival out of consideration for her mental state. Everything simply was, and being in its presence long enough without intervening had eventually made something in her simpler. I tell you this story because the garden is available to you tonight, even in the interior space of the imagination. Even here, in this bed, in this room, you can step into that quiet. Let me invite you to do it now. Imagine a garden at night, not an elaborate one, not one that requires much detail. Just a space with earth in it, with plants, with the smell of soil and greenery that is slightly different at night than it is in the daylight, deeper and older, more elemental somehow. There is a stone bench, smooth and cool to the touch. You are sitting there. The sky above the garden is dark, a deep dark that the stars inhabit without crowding, each star distinct, separated by more space than the eye can easily grasp. The stars don't flicker tonight. They hold steady, ancient light that left its source long before any human anxiety existed in the world. The light reaching your face right now left its star before your grandparents were born, before their grandparents were born, before the oldest stories you know were first told. Light is very patient. It travels without hurrying. It arrives without announcing itself. The air in the garden has that quality that nighttime air often has, a clarity, a coolness that settles when the sun no longer agitates the atmosphere. Breathe it in now, in imagination. Feel the coolness at the back of the throat, the slight freshness that carries the smell of whatever grows nearby. The air in this garden is very simply itself. It has no agenda. It carries no messages. It is just air, moving slowly through leaves, touching your skin, filling your lungs, being released. Somewhere in the garden there is the sound of water, quiet, very quiet, the sound a small fountain makes or perhaps a stream nearby, that continuous soft flowing sound that the mind finds so easy to rest against, not loud enough to demand attention, just present enough to give the attention something to settle on, the way a hammock gives the body something to rest in without holding it rigid. The sound of water is one of the most ancient associations with rest. Every human who has ever slept near a stream has let that sound carry them. Let it carry you now. The philosopher is on her bench and you are beside her, or perhaps you are her, or perhaps these are just images the mind offers and you don't need to sort out which. What matters is the quality of it, the sitting, the being, the complete absence of requirement. Nothing needs to happen in this garden right now. The garden is not expecting anything from you. The stars are not waiting for your input. The water is not asking to be directed. Everything is simply proceeding as it proceeds, and you are in the middle of it, a part of it, a warm animal in a cool garden under an ancient sky. Notice how the body responds to this image, or if images don't come easily to you tonight, simply receive the words and let them do what they do. The body has its own response to descriptions of peace. The nervous system responds to imagined safety nearly as well as it responds to actual safety. The breath of someone picturing a quiet garden depends, slightly. The breath of someone who has placed themselves in a place of safety slows, slightly. The muscles release, slightly. This is real, this is not pretend. You can cultivate the conditions for rest through the imagination as genuinely as you can cultivate them through the environment. This is, in fact, one of the genuine gifts of the human mind. Unlike any other creature we know of, you can create a place entirely in your imagination and inhabit it with enough vividness that the body responds as if it were real. The nervous system, which evolved long before the distinction between real and imagined was as clear as we now imagine it to be, responds to the content of experience more than to its source. A vivid memory of something frightening produces real fear. A vivid image of safety produces real calm. Tonight, the garden is as real as you need it to be. The bench is solid. The water is present. The dark air is cool and mild. Your body, lying in this bed, is also lying in this garden, and both are true at the same time. Let the garden deepen around you. Let the dark settle more fully, the stars growing more apparent as the eyes adjust, each one adding itself to the scene gradually the way stars appear when you have been outside long enough. Let the sounds of the night garden fill in around the water sound, occasional movement in the leaves when air moves through them, the distant call of something nocturnal, and the profound ambient quiet that underlies all of it. The philosopher on her bench has stopped cataloging and justifying. She is just present. Her mind is still, not empty, perhaps, but resting in the way the garden rests, which is not in stillness but in ease. The leaves are moving slightly. The water is moving. The stars are moving. The stars are moving, though too slowly to see, tracing their ancient arcs. Everything is in gentle motion, and nothing is strained. This is the movement of something at rest within itself, which is different from stillness and more alive. You can be in motion and at rest simultaneously. The breath moves, the heart beats. The body is never truly still in any biological sense. What rest means is not the stopping of all movement, but the absence of strain within the movement, the ease that exists when nothing is being forced. The philosopher on her bench is breathing without effort. The garden is growing without effort. You are resting in this bed without effort. All of it is at ease within its own nature. Stay in the garden a little longer. There is no hurry to go anywhere. The philosopher is good company, present and quiet, not requiring conversation. The bench is comfortable beneath you. The air is perfect, exactly the temperature a sleeping body would choose if it could choose. The sound of the water continues its patient narration of nothing important, just the story of water moving over stone, which is one of the oldest and simplest stories there is. You have been given a great deal tonight, chapter after chapter of instruction and reflection and invitation. But the garden, in its quiet, is offering something none of those chapters could, pure presence without content. No lesson, no insight to extract. Just this, just here, just the simple companionship of a quiet space at the end of a long day. Let that simplicity be its own teaching. Let the garden, which teaches by containing nothing that needs to be understood, settle into you the way warmth settles into cold stone, slowly, thoroughly, without drama, becoming a part of the temperature of things. The philosopher has a thought, now and then. Something arises, as thoughts do, in the quiet mind. She doesn't chase it or suppress it. She watches it the way she watches the movement in the leaves, with mild interest, without attachment. It arose. It is present. It will pass. Her hands rest open in her lap. Her shoulders are low and easy. Her face has the quality of someone for whom the work of being seen is temporarily suspended, the particular softness that comes when no one is watching and nothing is expected. This is the face you are making right now, perhaps. The face of a person who has given themselves permission to stop performing. To be nobody in particular. To be simply the one who is breathing in this bed, in this dark, in this moment. It is a very good face. It is, arguably, your most genuine one. Let that story carry you now, the water moving, the stone receiving, the dark settling, the breath going in and out, the garden breathing around you doing what gardens do in the night, quietly, persistently, without needing to know that you are watching. The philosopher rests. The garden rests within its own motion. You rest within yours. Everything in its own motion. You rest within yours. Everything in its own motion. You rest within yours. Everything in its own motere. Something changes when you have been lying very still for a long time. The edges of the body begin to lose their definition. Not literally, of course. The skin is still there, the bones are still doing their structural work, and the organs are still in their places. But the felt sense of the body, the sense of where you end and the room begins, becomes less insistent, less precise. The boundary that usually announces itself so clearly, the hard edge of self that separates inside from outside, begins to soften. This is normal. This is the body beginning the transition into sleep. In the waking state, the brain is continuously constructing a map of the body in space, where the limbs are, what the boundaries are, how the body is positioned relative to its environment. This mapping requires ongoing effort and attention. As the brain begins to shift towards sleep, this effort relaxes. The map becomes less detailed. The edges become less sharp. The body stops asserting its own precise contours and begins to blur gently into the space around it. Let this happen. This softening of the edges is not a loss. It is a transition, a becoming of something less separate, a gentle dissolution of the defended borders that the waking self maintains. In sleep, the self is held more loosely. The identity, the particular story of who you are and what you are afraid of, all of this relaxes its grip as sleep approaches. Not gone, not destroyed, just resting. Put down for the night, like the bundle from the traveler's story. Feel the edges of your body now and notice that they are already becoming less distinct. The places where your skin meets the sheets, once you stop moving and the temperature equilibrates, the boundary becomes less clear. You can feel the sheets because your nerve endings register them, but the registration is gentler now, less demanding, more like background music than foreground attention. The body is receding from the foreground attention. The body is receding from the foreground attention. The great business of being embodied is quieting for the night. There is a passage in the experience of falling asleep that is different from anything in ordinary waking life. It is the passage through the hypnagogic state, the threshold between waking and sleep proper. In this state, images arise that you did not choose and cannot quite control. Fragments of conversation appear from nowhere, the face of someone you haven't thought about in years. A sensation of movement, of falling, of walking, colors or patterns that shift and reform without any apparent logic. These are not dreams, not yet. They are the first transmissions from the deeper states, the surface foam of the long ocean you are about to enter. These images and sensations are to be welcomed rather than resisted. If you find yourself startled by a sudden falling sensation, which is common and has a name, the hypnic jerk, simply recognize it as the body's nervous system making its last checks before releasing into sleep. If images appear uninvited, let them. You are not responsible for their content. They are not omens or messages or symptoms of anything. They are the mind stepping out of editorial control, beginning to generate experience without the usual supervision of the waking self. This is the beginning of dreaming, and it is natural and healthy and means you are approaching the thing you came here for. The edges of the self continue to soften. The body is very heavy now, or very light, or both in alternating waves. This is another common threshold sensation. Sometimes the body in the hypnagogic state feels pressed into the mattress as if by tremendous gravity, and sometimes it feels weightless, afloat, barely tethered. Both sensations are simply the brain reorganizing its body map, redistributing its attention, stepping back from the detailed monitoring it maintains in waking life. Whatever you feel, it is the right thing to feel. The body knows this process. It has done it every night of your life. Let the heaviness be welcome if it comes. Imagine yourself sinking very slowly, like a stone in very still water, not falling but descending, each millimeter lower than the last, unhurried and inevitable. The mattress receiving you, taking your weight, deeper and deeper into softness. The water around you, in this image, is warm and dark and perfectly still, supporting without demanding, surrounding without confining. You are going down, very slowly, and down is safe. Down is where the rest lives. Or let the lightness be welcome if it comes instead. Imagine yourself very slightly above the mattress, floating perhaps a millimeter above the surface, suspended in warm air, held up by nothing and needing nothing to hold you. The body without weight. The breath barely there, just a slight rise and fall, so gentle as to be almost imaginary. The thoughts not quite forming, more like shadows than objects, passing through without landing. Both of these are the same thing, approached from different directions. Both are the mind releasing its grip on the solid and the certain. Both are the self becoming less rigidly itself. This is not frightening. This is the way into sleep, the same way you have entered every night. It is the same threshold you have crossed thousands of times without knowing you were crossing it. Tonight you are crossing it consciously, which makes it visible in a way it usually isn't. Let yourself see it. Let yourself know it as the familiar thing it is. The voice you are listening to is becoming a little less distinct now, perhaps. The words are arriving and being received, but the effort of following each word is less. The content matters less than the rhythm and the tone, the sound of language as a sound rather than a message. This is fine. This is how it should be. You don't need to understand every word now. You don't need to extract meaning or remember anything. The voice is simply something warm to rest against, like the sound of the water in the garden, continuous and undemanding. Your name, that insistent thing you carry through all the daylight hours, that compact identifier that means everything about who you are supposed to be and how you are supposed to behave, it is resting now. Not gone, just not required. For these hours, you are not a name or a role or a set of responsibilities. You are something simpler, a body in a bed, breathing, at rest, moving towards sleep. There is a long contemplative tradition that speaks of sleep not as an absence but as a return, not a falling away from consciousness but a falling into a larger consciousness, one that was present before the personal self came along with all its requirements and preferences and accumulated history. In sleep, this larger thing reasserts itself. The boundaries of the personal self go quiet. The voice that narrates and judges and plans falls silent. What remains, in the deep sleep that awaits you, is something that the contemplatives have pointed to across thousands of years, something they have called by many names but that shares a common quality. It is restful in a way that the waking self never quite manages to be, because the waking self ever quite manages to be, because the waking self is always doing something, always maintaining something, always in the process of being someone in particular. Tonight you can stop being someone in particular for a few hours. The someone you usually are will be waiting for you when you wake. Everything particular to who you are, your history and your concerns about tomorrow, will be exactly where you left it, but for these hours, in the deep and ordinary miracle of sleep, you can be simply the breathing thing, the living part of the world that is resting. Let the edges go. Let the boundary between inside and outside become soft. Let the darkness of the room and the darkness behind your eyes become the same darkness, continuous, encompassing, warm. Let the breath continue its rhythm without your direction. Let the thoughts continue their slow unwinding without your engagement. Let the images come if they will, strange and vivid and unselected, the first dispatches from the country you are entering. The waking self thinks of itself as the whole story. But it is only one chapter. Sleep holds other chapters, quieter ones, written in a different language, less literal and more true. The story of what you are is not complete in any single day's version. It runs deeper, runs stranger, runs through layers you do not visit consciously. Tonight those deeper layers are rising. The surface is becoming thin, translucent, easy to see through. What is below it is not frightening. It is simply the rest of you, the wider and older and less organized part, rising to reclaim the hours that belong to it. The images that come at this threshold, if they come, have a particular quality worth welcoming. A face that appears without invitation, a place you haven't thought about in years, a fragment of conversation from somewhere far back, a color, or a sound or a sensation of movement that has no obvious source. These are the mind's way of loosening its grip on the organized and the intentional. The daytime mind is a curator. It selects, arranges, and controls what gets attention and in what order. The threshold mind is not a curator. It is more like a child left alone in a museum after closing time, wandering among the exhibits, touching what it wants, making connections that the rational organizing principle would never have allowed. Let the child wander, trust the museum. The exhibits are just the contents of a mind that has lived a life, that has accumulated experience and memory and association, all of which are your own and none of which can harm you. The strange images of the threshold are simply the contents of your mind being seen from a new angle, from the loosened, less defended perspective of a mind beginning to dream. They are not pretense. They are not symptoms. They are the texture of transition, and they are beautiful if you let them be. Feel yourself now at the very edge of sleep. The breath is very slow. The body is very heavy or very light. The thoughts are losing their hard outlines. The voice is becoming something more like music than meaning, a quality of sound in the dark that keeps you company without demanding your comprehension. The night is deep around you. The bed is warm. Everything that was required of you today has been met in whatever way it could be met, and nothing further is required until the light comes back. You are nearly there. Something in you already knows it. Some part of you has already let go, and the rest is following. Everything is slower now. The world has grown very soft at its edges. The thoughts, if they are there at all, move like things seen through water, without urgency, without sharp contours, drifting in directions you don't choose and don't need to follow. You are lying down, breathing, nearly gone from the waking world, and there is nothing to do now but let what is already happening continue to happen. There is a shore. You have arrived at it without traveling, the way you arrive at sleep every night without going anywhere, simply by becoming still enough for it to find you. The shore is warm and quiet. The sand is dark, the kind of sand that holds the warmth of the day long after the sun has gone. You are lying in it, supported by its gentle give, shaped to you, receiving you without resistance. The waves are very quiet now. They come in, each one softer than the last, reaching just a little further up the sand before retreating. You are at the edge of the water, lying in the warm sand, and the waves reach your feet sometimes, a faint cool touch before drawing back. The sound is very soft. In and out. In and out. In and out. You don't need to do anything here. The sand holds you. It is warm, exactly warm, shaped to the curve of your body, yielding wherever you need it to yield, firm wherever you need it to be firm. The sky above you is the dark sky of very late night, past the hour of midnight, when even the stars seem farther away and the world has committed completely to its darkness. There is no edge of light anywhere, just the deep and total dark and the quiet sound of the water. Breathe in. Let the air come in slowly, all the way in. Feel your whole chest filling and your belly rising. Hold it for just a moment. Then let it go, very slowly all the way out, until the lungs are empty. Feel the slight sinking into the sand as the air leaves. Feel the body growing heavier, just a little, with each exhale as though gravity is deepening its invitation. Your hands are open, palms up, fingers slightly curled, loose and empty. The warm air touches the palms. The sand is under the backs of the hands, cool and gently present. Nothing is required of these hands tonight. They can simply be. They can simply lie there, open, soft, still. These are the hands that worked today, that typed and reached and held, that carried things from one place to another in ways that kept the day moving. They have earned this rest. Let them receive it completely uncurled, open to the night air, asking nothing and holding nothing. Your feet are bare and the waves come to them now and then, or perhaps that is just a feeling. Perhaps the waves are only imagined, but the imagined coolness is real enough to feel, real enough to soften something in the legs, which are very heavy now, very still, sinking into the warmth beneath them. The feet, which carried you through the day, are resting now. Let them sink. Let the whole long weight of the body release downward, fully and without reservation, into the warm sand that receives it without asking anything in return. The sounds around you are very few. The water, the almost nothing of the night air, nothing sharp, nothing urgent, just the long, continuous breathing of the sea, which has been making this sound for longer than language has existed, for longer than human feet have walked on beaches, for longer than anything you know. This sound is very old. It was here before worry existed. It will be here after. Let it carry you. The sea does not rush. It does not have somewhere to be. It arrives when it arrives and retreats when it retreats, and the whole of that process is its own complete and sufficient reality. There is nothing it needs to accomplish. There is nothing it is falling short of. It is simply the sea, doing what the sea does, continuous and patient and entirely at home in itself. Lying here at its edge, you can borrow something of that quality, not achieve it, not manufacture it, just borrow a little of it from proximity. Let the rhythm of the water become your rhythm. Let its patience become something you are resting inside. The sea has been patient since long before you arrived, and it will be patient long after you wake. For right now, in this small stretch of night, you and the sea are breathing together at the same slow pace. That is enough. That is more than enough. You don't have to do anything with this. You don't have to respond to it or analyze it or remember it. You don't have to be a good listener or a good meditator or a good anything. You just have to be here, which you already are, which is all that is required. There is no performance of sleep that makes it happen faster. There is no technique that guarantees it, no position that ensures it, no thought that reliably produces it. Sleep comes when it comes, as it always has, on its own schedule, through its own mysterious process. What you can do is what you are doing. Lie still, breathe, be present in the body, release the grip of the waking mind. The rest, quite literally, is out of your hands. It was always out of your hands. The body will sleep when the body sleeps, and the body knows when that is. Tonight it is soon. You can feel it in the quality of your own attention, which is softer now, less precise, less insistent on clarity. Words are landing and dissolving rather than landing and accumulating. The thoughts that come now are slow and barely formed, more like impressions than ideas, more like the suggestion of something than the thing itself. This is the texture of sleep arriving. This is the tide beginning its final approach. The breath is very slow now, coming and going like the tide, like the waves, in and out, with long pauses between. The body, which has been so busy all day, is finally getting what it has been waiting for since morning. It is accepting the rest. It is giving itself permission. The muscles are soft. The hands are open. The eyes are closed behind their lids, and the darkness behind the eyes and the darkness of the night are becoming the same thing. Something is letting go. Something that has been held for a long time is releasing. You can feel it happening, or perhaps you can't feel it anymore because feeling itself is becoming less distinct. The edges of sensation are softening the way the edges of the body softened, the way everything softens at this hour. This is sleep arriving. This is the tide coming all the way in. The waves are barely there, just a whisper now, just the memory of sound, just the felt sense of something continuous and gentle moving at the edges. The sand is very warm. The sky is very deep. The breath is very slow, barely there, just the easiest possible rhythm, just the minimum of effort. Just enough. You are at the shore. The water is here. It has come for you, as it comes for everyone, patient and warm, asking nothing, giving everything. You don't have to swim. You don't have to go anywhere. Just let the water come to you. Let the tide carry you if it wants to. Let the tide carry you if it wants to. Let yourself float in the warmth at the edge of the world. The voice is very soft now. It is almost part of the sound of the water, just something that was there and is now fading, leaving behind only the rhythm, only the warmth, only the dark. The shore has no requirements. It does not ask you to be anything. It does not care about what happened today or what will happen tomorrow. It exists on a different time scale from all of that, a time scale of tides and seasons and the long wearing down of stone, where a single day is barely a ripple. On this time scale, your particular difficulty is smaller than you thought. Your particular worry is shorter than the sound of one wave. The shore has absorbed every worry anyone has ever carried to its edge and has turned them all, gently and without discrimination, into foam. Let yours become foam. Let what was heavy become light. Let what was sharp become smooth. The shore knows how to do this. Sleep is here. It has been here all along, waiting just at the edge of the water, patient as tides, certain as morning. You have arrived at it, or it has arrived at you, and the difference does not matter. The warmth is spreading from the sand beneath you, moving up through the whole length of the body, from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head, a slow warmth like sunlight absorbed all day and released gently now into the dark. The body is receiving it. The body is warm and still and very heavy, lying here at the edge of the world, at the border of waking and sleep. There is nothing to know right now, nothing to remember, nothing to plan for or worry about or carry forward. The shore holds all of that in temporary custody. Tomorrow will collect it gently, when the time is right. For now there is only this, warmth and quiet, and the sound of the water, and the breath going very slowly in and out, and the dark. Let the water take you. Let the darkness take you. Let the breath slow to almost nothing, and trust that it will continue without you. Let whatever remains of the day's concerns drift out to sea, where they will be there tomorrow, smaller and farther away, return to their proper size by the perspective of distance and rest. You are safe. The night is long and the rest is deep. The world will be here in the morning, and so will you, having traveled this long quiet way to find your way back to yourself. That is morning. That is far away. Right now there is only the shore, the warm sand, the sound of the water, the breath, very slow, very soft, going in and out like the tide. The darkness that holds everything in its great patient arms and asks nothing in return but this, that you lie down and let go and sleep. Sleep now. Everything is all right. Everything is very, very quiet.